Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, YouTube. Today we are again reading from the Scriptures, translation of the Bible. I have my coffee ready, so get your coffee, get your Bible, and let's read. Today we are starting in Numbers, chapter 13. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel. Send one man from each tribe of their fathers, every one a leader among them." And by the mouth of Yahweh, Moshe sent them from the wilderness of Paran, all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel. And these were their names: from the tribe of Reuben, Shammua, son of Zakur; from the tribe of Shimon, Shaphat, son of Hori; from the tribe of Yehuda, Caleb, son of Jephunneh; from the tribe of Issachar, Yigal, son of Yosef; from the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea, son of Nun; from the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, son of Raphu; from the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, son of Sadi; from the tribe of Yosef; from the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, son of Susi; from the tribe of Dan, Amiel, son of Gamali; from the tribe of Asher, Shether, son of Mikael; from the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, son of Wapsi; from the tribe of Gad, Geuel, son of Makai. These are the names of the men whom Moshe sent to spy out the land. And Moshe called Hosea, the son of Nun, Yehoshua. And Moshe sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, "Go up here into the south, and go up to the mountains, and see what the land is like, and the people who dwell in it, whether strong or weak, whether few or many, and whether the land they dwell in is good or evil, whether the cities they inhabit are in camps or strongholds, and whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are forests there or not. And you shall be strong, and bring some of the fruit of the land." Now the time was the season of the first fruits of grapes. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Tsin, as far as Rehob, near the entrance of Hamath. And they went up through the south and came to Hebron and Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, and the descendants of Anak were there. Now Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Mitzrayim. And they came to the Wadi Eshcol, and cut down from there a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bore it between two of them on a pole, also of the pomegranates and of the figs. That place was called the Wadi Eshcol, because the cluster which the men of Israel cut down from there. And they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moshe and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. And they brought back word to them and all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they reported to him and said, "We went to the land where you sent us, and truly it flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. But the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are walled, very great. And we saw the descendants of Anak there too. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, while the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the bank of the Jordan." And Caleb silenced the people before Moshe and said, "Let us go up at once and take possession, for we are certainly able to overcome it." But the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we." And they gave the children of Israel an evil report of the land which they had spied out, saying, "The land through which we have gone as spies is a land eating up its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of great size. And we saw there the Nephilim, sons of Anak and of Nephilim. And we were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we were in their eyes." So they get to the land. They send some spies out to go check everything out. And a couple of guys are just like, "Look at this grapes." They had to carry one bunch of grapes on a pole between two men. That's insane by our even imagination. That kind of a cluster of grapes. But they're like, hey, this land is like literally flowing with milk and honey. Look at its fruit. And they're pumped and they're excited. Let's go, yeah. And everybody else was afraid. They're like, yeah, but there's men of great size, giants, the Nephilim. And they were scared. Chapter 14. Then all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and against Aaron. And all the congregation said to them, if only we had died in the land of Mitzrayim, or if only we had died in this wilderness. And why is Yahweh bringing us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should become a prey? Would it not be better for us to turn back to Mitzrayim? And they said to each other, let us appoint a leader, and let us turn back to Mitzrayim. Then Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation and of the children of Israel. And Yehoshua son of Nun, and Caleb son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their garments. And they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If Yahweh has delighted in us, then he shall bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which is flowing with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against Yahweh, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their defense has turned away from them, and Yahweh is with us. Do not fear them. But all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Then the esteem of Yahweh appeared in the tent of appointment before all the children of Israel. And Yahweh said to Moshe, how long shall I be scorned by these people? And how long shall I not be trusted by them, with all the signs which I have done in their midst? Let me strike them with the pestilence, and disinherit them, and make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. And Moshe said to Yahweh, then the Mitzrites shall hear it, for by your power you brought these people up from their midst. And they shall say to the inhabitants of this land that they have heard that you, Yahweh, in the midst of these people, that you, Yahweh, are seen eye to eye, and that your cloud stands above them, and you go before them in a column of cloud by day and in a column of fire by night. Now if you shall kill these people as one man, then the nations which have heard of your report shall speak, saying, because Yahweh was not able to bring this people to the land which he swore to give them, therefore he slew them in the wilderness. And now I pray, let the power of Yahweh be great as you have spoken, saying Yahweh is patient and of great loving commitment, forgiving crookedness and transgression, but by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation. Please forgive the crookedness of this people, according to the greatness of your loving commitment, as you have forgiven this people from Mitzrayim even until now. And Yahweh said, I shall forgive according to your word. But truly as I live, and all the earth is filled with the esteem of Yahweh. For none of these men who have seen my esteem and the signs which I did in Mitzrayim and in the wilderness, and have tried me now these 10 times, and have disobeyed my voice, shall see the land of which I swore to their fathers. Nor if any of those who scorned me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him, and has followed me completely, I shall bring him into the land where he went, and his seed shall inherit it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are dwelling in the valley, turn back tomorrow, and set out into the wilderness by the way of the sea of reeds. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, how long shall this evil congregation have this grumbling against me? I have heard the grumblings which the children of Israel are grumbling against me. Say to them, as I live, declares Yahweh, as you have spoken in my hearing, so I do to you. The carcasses of you who have grumbled against me are going to fall in this wilderness. All of you who were registered according to your entire number from 20 years old and above. None of you except Caleb son of Jephunneh and Yehoshua son of Nun shall enter the land which I swore I would make you dwell in. But the little ones, whom you said would become a prey, I shall bring in, and they shall know the land which you have rejected. But as for you, your carcasses are going to fall in this wilderness. And your sons shall be wanderers in the wilderness 40 years, and shall bear your whoring until your carcasses are consumed in the wilderness. according to the number of days in which you spied out the land, 40 days, a year for a day for a year. You are to bear your crookedness 40 years, and you shall know my breaking off. I am Yahweh, I have spoken. I shall do this to all the evil congregation who are meeting against me. In the wilderness they are consumed, and there they die. And the men whom Moshe sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation grumble against him by bringing an evil report of the land. Even those men who brought the evil report about the land died by a plague before Yahweh. Of those men who went to spy out the land, only Yehoshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh remained alive. And when Moshe spoke those words to all the children of Israel, the people mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain, saying, See, we have indeed sinned, but we shall go up to a place which Yahweh had spoken of. But Moshe said, Why do you now transgress the mouth of Yahweh, since it does not prosper? Do not go up, lest you be smitten by your enemies, for Yahweh is not in your midst. Because the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword. Because you have turned away from Yahweh, Yahweh is not with you. But they presumed to go up to the mountaintop, but neither the ark of the covenant, nor Yahweh, nor Moshe left the camp. So the Amalekites and the Canaanites who dwelt in the mountain came down and struck them, and beat them down, even to Hormah. So, once again, the Israelites grumble against Yahweh. If only we had died in Mitzrayim. Really? They had no faith that the Father would help them, protect them, and give them a victory. And they were afraid. After all that they had seen, they still had no faith. Except Caleb and Yehoshua. So he says, none of you are going to see the promised land. You'll all die out here. Except those two. Those two will see it. Those two will go in. So, do you have kids? Do they wait until you're like, okay, you stand in the corner or you're grounded or whatever your punishment is, and they go, okay, I'll do what you wanted me to do, and it's like, no, it's too late now. That's what they did. They're like, oh, okay, well, we'll do it now. And Moses said, yeah, he's not with you, so there's no point in going up there now. They tried anyway, and it didn't work. Chapter 15. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you have come into the land of your dwellings, which I am giving you, and you make an offering by fire to Yahweh, an ascending offering or a slaughtering, to accomplish a vow as a voluntary offering, or in your appointed times, to make a sweet fragrance to Yahweh, from the herd or the flock, then he who brings near his offering to Yahweh shall bring near a grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil. And the 1/4 of a hin of oil as a drink offering you prepare with the ascending offering or the slaughtering for each lamb. Or for a ram you prepare as a grain offering 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil. And as a drink offering, you bring 1/3 of a hin of wine as a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And when you prepare a young bull as an ascending offering, or as a slaughtering to accomplish a vow, or as a peace offering to Yahweh, then shall be brought with the young bull a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with 1/2 a hin of oil. And bring as the drink offering 1/2 a hin of wine as an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. This is what is done for each young bull, for each ram, for each lamb or young goat. According to the number that you prepare, so you do for each one according to their number. Let all who are native do so with them, in bringing near an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And when a sojourner sojourns with you, or whoever is among you throughout your generations, and would make an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh, as you do, so he does. One law is for you of the assembly and for the sojourner who sojourns with you, a law forever throughout your generations. As you are, so is the sojourner before Yahweh. One Torah and one right ruling is for you and for the sojourner who sojourns with you. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, When you come into the land to which I bring you, then it shall be when you eat of the bread of the land that you present a contribution to Yahweh. Present a cake of the first fruit of your dough as a contribution of the threshing floor you present it. Of the first of your dough you are to give to Yahweh a contribution throughout your generations. And when you sin by mistake and do not do all the commands which Yahweh has spoken to Moshe, all that Yahweh has commanded you by the hand of Moshe, from the day Yahweh gave command and onward throughout your generations. Then it shall be, if it is done by mistake without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall prepare one young bull as an ascending offering, as a sweet fragrance to Yahweh, with its grain offering and its drink offering, according to the right ruling, and one male goat as a sin offering. Then the priest shall make atonement for all the congregation of the children of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them, for it was by mistake. And they shall bring their offering, an offering made by fire to Yahweh, and their sin offering before Yahweh for their mistake. And it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the children of Israel and the sojourner who sojourns in their midst, because all the people did it by mistake. And if a being sins by mistake, then he shall bring a female goat or a year-old as a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for the being who strays by mistake, when he sins by mistake before Yahweh, to make atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. For him who does whatever by mistake there is one Torah, both for him who is native among the children of Israel, and for the sojourner who sojourns in their midst. But the being who does whatever defiantly, whether he is native or a sojourner, he reviles Yahweh, and that being shall be cut off from among his people. Because he has despised the word of Yahweh, and has broken his command, that being shall certainly be cut off. His crookedness is upon him. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. And those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moshe and to Aaron and to all the congregation. And they put him under guard, because it had not been declared what should be done with him. And Yahweh said to Moshe, The man shall certainly be put to death, all the congregation stoning him with stones outside the camp. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones, as Yahweh commanded Moshe, and he died. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and you shall say to them to make tzitzi on the corners of their garments throughout their generation, and to put a blue cord in the tzitzi of their corner. And it shall be to you for a tzitzi, and you shall see it, and shall remember all the commands of Yahweh, and shall do them, and not search after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you went whoring, so that you remember, and shall do all my commands, and be set apart unto your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, to be your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Now, it is kind of interesting here that while it says, speak to the children of Israel to make tzitzi, it doesn't say to the men. It says the children of Israel. Yet the Hebrew Jewish tradition was that only the males wore it. I think it's for everybody, because it says the children of Israel. And in the same chapter, it also says there's one law, one Torah for the sojourner and for the natives. So if you're going to live with them, follow the same rules. But that is the end of the reading for today. I hope you enjoyed these chapters. And please read it for yourself in your own Bible. I'm not an expert. So don't take my word for it. Read it for yourself. And I hope you join us again next Saturday. May the Father bless you. Shalom.